Hi Star Seeds, welcome back. So today we are going to be making yogurt, vegan yogurt. This is made from cashews and I absolutely love this recipe because it's super easy. It's super easy to make and I'm going to show you step by step exactly how to make this vegan cashew yogurt that's super rich and creamy and delicious. So let's get in the kitchen. So this is what you're gonna do first. You're gonna take your 500 grams of raw cashews and you're gonna soak them in water for 3 hours, and then you're gonna discard the water and you're gonna be left with nice swollen cashews. So now I'm just placing the cashews in my Vitamix blender along with 4.5 cups of filtered water. So all we're gonna do is blend it up until it's nice and smooth and silky. So you really want to make sure that once you've blended your water and your cashews, that you get a nice silky smooth consistency. You don't want any chunks in your yogurt, right? So this is what it looks like. So you just want to place the mixture in a pot because in a moment we're going to head on over to the kitchen, to the stove, where we are going to heat this up. So as you can see, the consistency right now is pretty loose. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna heat this. So I have my settings on 6 on my electric stove. So the max is 10, but I have mine on 6. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat this up for 8 to 8.5 minutes. And then you're gonna see that the mixture is gonna kind of turn into this cake batter consistency. So you wanna use a whisk here and you wanna keep whisking for the whole 8 to 8.5 minutes, okay? So just a couple of points here. I really need you guys to whisk during the whole cooking process of the cashew cream, okay? Also, I'm only saying this because it does catch a little bit at the bottom of the pot if you're not careful. So you do want to keep your eye on it and just keep whisking away. The second point I want to make is the longer you cook your cashew cream, the richer and the thicker your yogurt will become, right? So if you don't want it super thick, then reduce the cooking time and just sort of experiment on your own and feel what the texture is like, you know, like with a spoon, scoop it up and just see if it's thick. If it's too thin for you, then keep cooking it. I cooked this for about 8.5 minutes and it turned out really super thick and creamy. So you can see that the mixture is getting thicker. Just keep in mind, the longer you cook it, the thicker the cashew mixture will get. So if you want your yogurt to be super thick, then you're gonna keep cooking it. If you want it to be sort of a medium thickness, then you're not going to continue. Like this is already pretty good, but we will cook it for another half a minute or so and I'll show you guys the consistency. So what I'm doing now is placing the mixture in a very clean glass bowl. You want to make sure that the bowl is very clean, whether you put it in the dishwasher and let it steam, whatever method, you just make sure that it's clean. We don't want any mold forming while we're making the yogurt. So this is the consistency right now. It's still very hot. And just remember, anything that you use from this point forward has to be sterilized, okay? So at this point, you need a thermometer because you need to make sure that the cashew cream is going to cool down to 108 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? So we're just going to test it right now and see where we're at. So that's going way past 108 degrees Fahrenheit to about 140. So right now we just need to remove the thermometer and we need to wait for this to cool down. Also, don't forget to stir the mixture because if you don't, you're gonna notice a sort of crust that begins to form on the surface and then it gets lumpy. So you just wanna occasionally stir it, make sure that it remains nice and smooth. But also for the point of when you stick the thermometer in to measure it, some parts will be hotter than others, so you just want to really give it a nice stir. So before you add your yogurt or your cultures, in this case we're adding yogurt, it has to be, the temperature of your cashew mixture has to be between 108 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. So make sure you have a thermometer on hand and we are just about ready to add our yogurt. So I'm using coconut yogurt here and it's very pure, there's nothing else in it except coconut and cultures. So I'm gonna add in 4 tablespoons of this. Now I've tried this with many different yogurts. I've tried it with soy, I've tried it with oat, and they all work. In my experience, they all work. So this is 3, and then we're adding 1 more, 4. So at this point, you want to use a wooden spoon to stir the yogurt because you don't want any materials that will react negatively with the cultures, okay? So you just want to stir it gently. You don't want to whisk it or anything like that. So I've got a cute clay pot here, and what I'm going to do is just using my wooden spoon, I'm just going to kind of ladle the yogurt inside. And this is a big batch, guys. I figure if you're gonna go through the trouble of making yogurt and fermenting it, you might as well make a nice big batch that you can enjoy. So when you're fermenting yogurt, you wanna make sure you're using either a clay pot or a glass bowl or some kind of stoneware. These are the perfect materials to ferment yogurt. So I'm just gonna put the lid on it, and this is going in the dehydrator at 108 degrees Fahrenheit for 8 hours. So I've got more yogurt left over in the glass bowl, so I'm just gonna cover it up with plastic wrap and also place that in the dehydrator at 108 degrees Fahrenheit as well. So after 8 hours fermenting and then in the fridge overnight, this is what your cashew yogurt looks like. Should we dig in? I think we should. I'm just going to dig in for you so you guys can see the texture and the consistency. Wow, that is really thick, beautiful. And you know that it's fermented when you see tiny little bubbles forming and the sides of the yogurt kind of pull away. There it is. That's so good. You can eat this with granola or fruit. It's absolutely perfect yogurt. So before I try the yogurt for you guys, I just wanted to bring up another tip. So after you put it in the dehydrator for 8 hours at 108 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to remove it, let it cool for just a few minutes, and then you're going to place it in the fridge overnight. I don't suggest that you try the yogurt until it's placed in the fridge overnight, and then the next day you can enjoy it with granola or with fruit. And another point I want to make is if you don't have a dehydrator, don't worry about it. You can just use your stove. So turn the light on in your stove and just place your yogurt in your oven, okay? Don't turn your oven on. So as long as it's a warm place, it should work. But I'm a bit of a control freak when it comes to making yogurt, so I really like precise temperatures. Okay, let's try the yogurt. It's so refreshing. It's light, but it's thick. The texture is thick, but it's light at the same time. It's very cashewy because it is cashew yogurt, but there's a little bit of sweetness and tang in the aftertaste. So I think it depends also on what kind of yogurt you're gonna be using as a starter, right? And about that, I know some people would be like, what's the point of making yogurt if you're gonna make it with a yogurt starter? The reason why I chose to do so is because they're super expensive. Like vegan cultures at the supermarket are like $20. And if your budget allows for that, then you can go ahead and actually use like the culture starters. But I just chose like the inexpensive way and got a little yogurt that I could use for making my yogurt. And this is quite a big batch, guys. So, really good. Okay, Starseeds, I hope you enjoyed the video. I haven't seen all of you in a very, very long time, so I hope all of you are doing well and you're enjoying your summer. And I'm hoping to see you next time for the next video. Mwah.